Hi everybody, this is Etta, and I just want to tell you that the saddest thing that happened to our family this year, and it was on April 1st, April Fool's Day, that it happened. And what it is that our little dog, Buddy, well, he come in and he act like it was hard for him to walk in his back legs, and when you touch him and everything, why, he would whimper when you tried to pick him up very carefully. We knew something was wrong. And so anyway, well, that was in the morning when this happened, and then in the afternoon, why, I told my husband, and we were saying, well, we got to take him to the vet. And so we got a veterinarian right here close, within 3 or 4 blocks of the house here. So it's called the Ark. And so we took him up here to the Ark, and they examined him. But by then he was down where he was dragging one leg and whimpering when he's trying to walk. And they examined him real good, and they said, well, we're sorry to inform you, he's got a herniated disc in his spine, and the only way you can do that is through surgery. And we don't do surgery here. And we said, is that the only way that this can be done? And they said yes, it was through surgery. So they gave us the name of a place over in Springfield from here that does the surgeries on the animals. And so we said, all right. So we gathered him up and we brought him home, and we called the place over there in Springfield. And I was never so shocked in all of my life. We was asking about surgery and about a herniated disc and everything, and they said yes, that they could do the surgery and everything. And at first I said, well, first of all, before we get into this, before we do anything at all, we have this little dog. And I told them all about Buddy, and then I said, how much is this for surgery? And they says, well, we know at least it'd be $18,000. It could run a little over $20,000. I said, what? Yeah. That's for bringing him over and taking care of him, and after surgery, keeping him and this and that. And so I said, I can't believe that it'd be that much. And they said, oh yes, that's what it would be. It's at least $18,000 and could run over $20,000. I says, then after you give him the surgery and everything, then you guarantee that he'll be just fine. And they said, there is no guarantee of him being just fine. That we can get rid of the herniated disc in that spot. But that doesn't mean that he would not have some problems or trouble. Because when you are maybe pain or something like that, and I says, well, looks like if you got rid of it and fixed it right, well, they says, well, it could come out okay, but then they couldn't guarantee that everything would be, the dog would be all right. So I said, all right, thank you very much. And I turned around and I told my husband, I says, well, we can't afford that. There's no way in this world can we afford that. And tears come in his eyes, and he said, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. And tears just rolled down my husband's face. I've only seen my husband cry very few times in my lifetime. And this was one of them. And I told him, I says, well, we're going to have to do something. And we just as well as to do it just as fast as we can and not prolong it, because the dog is in pain, and in really bad pain, and you know it. And I can't stand to see him in pain. And so I called back the Ark, and I told them that we had called and that we could not absolutely afford. And she says, I understand that. I didn't think you would, but at least I had to, I said, I thank you for pointing us in the right direction. So anyway, I said, well, that Buddy was in such pain. And she says, well, bring him up here in 1 hour. Keep him in for 1 hour and bring him up, and we'll neutralize him. So, in 1 hour, that's what we did. My husband and I drove him up, and my husband carried him in his arms, and they had him put down in the back room, and he was laying there on the table, and so we stayed with him, and then she come in with a shot, and she said, well, now this is just to put him to sleep, like, I mean, or really, I mean, it's not to, to put him out, dead or nothing, but this is just to put him to sleep, so that we'll calm him down and everything, so it'll be, well, this will make everything, and he won't hurt. And it'll take away his pain now, and it won't hurt when we give him the other one that will take his life. And she said, you want to stay in here, or do you want to leave? My husband says, I can't stay in here. And boy, he took off running. I said, well, I'm not going to let the dog go and die by himself. I says, I'm going to stay with Buddy because I love him. And yeah, that was hard. There's one, I mean, I guess all of you that's got animals or dogs or whatever that you love, that you know the pain that you feel. I mean, it was really painful. So after she gave him the shot, when my husband left and I stayed in there, and I petted him and loved him and told him how much we loved him and how much that we're sorry that he was hurt and that he was going to go to doggy heaven, and the Lord needed a good dog. But he was the best dog. Everybody in this whole community and the neighbors and everything loved Buddy. He was just that one special kind of dog. Now we have a little girl dog, and we still got her, named Sissy. And she's a little Dachshund too. But and she is the sweetest thing. But she's no Buddy. I mean, we all love her. And I imagine something happened to her, we'd really feel bad and cry too. But Buddy was just special. And I stayed with him until then when she come back. I mean, she says, well, he's asleep now. And that's when it goes. And she says, in other words, makes him die. His heart quit or whatever, it won't hurt him. Because he won't feel it because he's asleep. And so then she gave him that. She had to find a vein to put this in. She had to shave a leg and find a vein and everything. It was something to watch that happen. But that was the saddest day and the saddest thing that's happened to us so far this year. And of all things, it was on April the 1st, on April Fool's Day. So, I don't know. I had to tell you our sad story. And out here on the front, between the garage and the house, we have this fence, this black fence, and we have 2 signs out there, the triangle sign. It says, guard dogs. And one says Sissy, and one says Buddy, and it shows the Dachshunds on one. And my husband took Buddy's sign off of the fence, and we have a walnut tree in the back, and we get walnuts off of that every year. And anyway, squirrels are always running up, and he's always chasing squirrels, and he was a squirrel. He killed a couple of squirrels by chasing them, catching them. He was a hunter. He had treed possum out there and coon that comes across our land. I hate to say this, but it's all right, but there's nothing we could do. He was outside roaming, and he killed a couple of cats. I mean, we couldn't help it. I mean, it was already done. I mean, he wasn't out of our yard. They were in our yard. So, he was quite a hunter. So, anyway, I hate it because that, but anyway, my husband, underneath the tree, he would sit there when those squirrels was there and they'd run up that tree. They'd be in the tree. He'd sit there underneath that tree for hours on end and just sit there and look. Now that is a dedicated hunting dog. That he was dedicated. So my husband took his sign down and stuck it on that tree, nailed it on that tree, and also with his dog license and his name and his collar and everything's on the tree out back. He said, "This is Buddy's tree. This is Buddy's tree. It always will be Buddy's tree." So, anyway, that's my sad story. And I'll hush up now. Well, I'm going to say God bless all of you and keep you, and maybe your animals and everything will stay well too.